Lucia's on our backline. Lucia 1.
I did not miss a tick on him.
No cooldown, Junkerqueen.
I need help.
They're only 2. Nice, it's just Orisa now.
I got solo Reaper ulted, bro.
Zarya in Overwatch 2. Zarya is an extremely versatile brawl tank, a hero that creates and holds space with energy bubbles, making the choice between enabling teammates, enabling herself, or disabling enemy aggression. In Overwatch 2, Zarya as a solo tank has gained flexibility with her bubble usage, gaining the ability to bubble herself twice, or an ally twice, instead of one each. This gives Zarya immense carry potential, if you know how to play her. This guide will be broken down into positioning, playstyle, and tank matchups. Today I am joined by the Zarya expert himself, A10.
Hey, what's up everyone? My name is A10 and I have been a very long time Zarya enthusiast. So I appreciate the invite from Spilo to talk about the hero and tell you a bit more about how she works in Overwatch 2. Zarya is a short-range tank who outputs a large amount of damage. This is great for burning through squishy targets that are out of position. This means that if there's no tank in her way, she can easily dispatch of the enemy backline by melting through them quickly. This means that we need to get creative at finding ways to save our bubbles to get close to the enemy. The way that it worked in Overwatch 1 was that there was a second tank that would draw aggression from you, allowing you to be sneaky and get close without being spotted. But with the removal of those extra defenses, we have to now learn to utilize the best tank in the game. Natural cover, the walls, the corners, the things that break the line of sight.
To sum it up, Zarya excels in close ranges against most compositions, but always needs to make use of cover to avoid taking too much damage.
What I'm about to talk about is, I think, the most important part of Zarya's kit and change in her playstyle into Overwatch 2. Because Zarya now solely has to demand space and doesn't have another tank to rely on that, her bubbles become less about building charge and more about controlling space. Now hear me out. You might be thinking to yourself, well, if I bubble for charge, I'll get more damage. Well, the issue with that is, if you bubble for charge and you cannot push out and take space anymore, you lose neutral and you have to retake for your team, well then your team can't play the game. You lose out on damage. You can't play the game, and when you're dead, you have 0 charge. And with the increased decay rate that we have now, if we look to sort of bubble for charge and wait for a bubble and well, you're actually going to have way less damage. Let's say, hypothetically, Zarya bubbles for charge, she gets 40 and it starts decaying. Then she finds another opportunity, she bubbles again, she's at 60. Compare this to the Giga Chad Zarya that is now going to run her over with both of her bubbles at once. She instantly has 80 to her 60. She has 400 more HP because she has 2 extra bubbles, and she wins the fight so she can use that downtime to farm more charge with bubbles. Get comfortable at being 0 charge. Get comfy with playing neutral fights slow and waiting for those openings so that when you can finally pull the trigger on making a play, you don't just instantly die from being too squishy and losing your team the fight.
Can I give space? If so, then I can use my bubble for charge. Can I not give up space? In which case, you cannot use your bubble for charge.
It is important to recognize what playstyle the Zarya has to adapt. If she chooses to take space and play aggressively herself, then she needs to make sure that her backline is safe to follow her to do so. If it is not safe to do so, she'll have to choose to play defensively by using her bubbles to peel the enemy aggression and fight back, push them out, get picks, and take space after. Now this can be pretty difficult to recognize, but just as a general idea of how we can apply this is if we were playing against, let's say, a Winston Tracer composition, we know that those heroes will probably want to play hidden away in off angles, ready to strike and pounce as soon as their backline is exposed. So by denying them this opportunity, by sticking next to our team, we can punish their engage and then kill them when they're low on cooldowns, thus outplaying what they are trying to do. Developing this skill set is exemplified on a hero like Zarya because you don't have any mobility, meaning that if you get good at reading the intention of either an enemy or your own teammate, because we have a limited windows where our bubbles are useful.
To sum it up, Zarya has to read both her composition and the enemy composition to try and decide what she should be putting her attention on with bubbles. Should I be bubbling myself aggressively, bubbling off the enemy dive so that I can save my backline, or enabling my DPS like a Genji or a Reaper to go aggressive? Reading the room and paying attention to what's happening mid-fight is crucial to find success with Zarya. Next up, tank matchups. We're going to be doing something a little bit different with this guide. Instead of describing how Zarya needs to play versus every single hero in the cast, we're going to focus on the tank matchups specifically, as those usually have the biggest impact on adjusting Zarya's playstyle.
Doomfist is an easy matchup for Zarya, as his engages are very linear and easy to block with your bubbles, and you out-sustain him so you can put down a lot of pressure. Just be careful of charging his super punch up, try to deny his engages, and put out good pressure without charging his punch. D.Va can be an easy win, or feel like an impossible target to deal with. This is because, again, Zarya's weakness is her lack of mobility, so if the D.Va is playing in an assassin playstyle, coming from really weird angles using her mobility, one-shotting your backlines, it can feel very difficult to deal with her because she has too much HP for you to burn down. But what you'll most commonly find is that the D.Va will play in a front-to-front battle, which is Zarya's strength. Be careful because she can one-shot you if you are low or your bubbles are down, and of course watch out for her matrix, this can deny your grav, and the alternate fire. Junkerqueen currently doesn't have the resources to out-sustain the Zarya, meaning that this matchup is quite easy. All you have to do is play at a distance, wait for her to use her really big cooldown, and after that, save pickings. Don't forget that your bubbles cleanse and counter her ultimate as well. Orisa has been reworked in Overwatch 2 to make her a close-range brawler. However, in the front-to-front battles, this is where Zarya excels, meaning that if we consistently put out pressure on her from a slight distance, we can force her to use her Fortify and all of her cooldowns, and after she's used those, and then you can easily dispatch of her. Make sure to use your bubbles to counter her spears, and to counter her ultimate, which is line of sight based, so you can use your bubbles to block the damage for your teammates. Reinhardt is a very difficult matchup for Zarya, because he can run her down, he wins that close range duel, meaning that Zarya has almost no options other than to ignore him, play high grounds, play far away, and get around him. Go to the backline, don't let him get near you. Try to get charged up before you engage him, be very careful of playing low ground onto him, and if you notice that the enemy Reinhardt isn't running you down, then burn his shield, play cocky, play aggressive. It can be a bit of a mental mind game if they don't know that they're stronger. Roadhog is a skill matchup. It is his job to hook you out of position into his team, or to make sure that you don't have bubbles to counter his hooks. He takes an incredibly long time to kill, so just as any other tank, we should look to avoid shooting at him and shooting the squishies that he can't protect. If possible, use crowd control for your teammates, or run him down, run past him and pressure his team, all while keeping an eye on him. His ultimate is very scary and it melts through everything, so be careful of that. Zarya wins this matchup by getting on top of Sigma, getting through his shield and overwhelming him. Therefore, the Sigma will do everything he can to space far away from you and make it as difficult as possible for you to approach him. If you can catch the Sigma not playing like this, you should be able to run him down, block his rock, block his damage, and burn through all his defenses. It is important to note that when Sigma uses his flux, you should prioritize your supports, because they will restore all the HP back up after the ultimate, keeping your team alive. Another difficult matchup for Zarya is Winston. This is another character that doesn't give you a lot of charge. He can easily split you with his bubble. He can use his mobility to maneuver around where you're holding easily and get access to your backline. So make sure to clump up and keep your backline safe, because if you walk up, there's a very high chance that he'll jump in between you bubble and your healers can't save you. You want to make sure that you can get high charge, and if you do, you can start bullying him out. Wrecking Ball can be a fairly difficult matchup. This character has the ability to never interact with you until he chooses the engage timing. Because of this, you will not be able to farm charge off of him. His main strength is wasting your time, wasting your ammo, and crowd controlling you out of position. So only shoot at him if you have nothing else to shoot at, or you're sure he's going to die.
Zarya's new double bubble freedom gives her a reasonable amount of flexibility in different compositions. She's still not a great fit with spam or sniper compositions, but she synergizes well with mobile dive heroes or short range brawl heroes. Let me know if you have any questions, and that's it.